In 1996, my husband was given an opportunity to go to Norway to do a Christian leadership course. That hell broke loose in terms of my emotions. I discouraged him from going. Why? Because I was telling myself, he is leaving me. He is abandoning me. I was abandoned by my mother, not intentionally, but now here I'm being abandoned by my husband. Of course, to him, he doesn't know what is going on. I had not shared about my being left and my issues at home. So I cried, I discouraged him from going. I was still, having those traumatic experiences. And this is separation anxiety. So year 2000 comes here, and my husband is offered another opportunity to go to Singapore. For how long? For 1 year. See, inaendelea ikipanda. The longer the period, it is going increasing. So he was in Singapore for 1 year. Again, when he was going, he had stopped working where he was working. So that again was like, we don't have enough, because he has left the job where he was working and then he has gone to Singapore for a year. The abandonment, the separation anxiety was still on me. Remember, I have not now done the 2001 course. I am in 2000. Allow me to keep taking you to and fro because of the issues that are there. So he went for a year. And when he was away, finally, he still managed, because he was telling me, this is an opportunity I've gotten. We can't just allow it to pass. Let me just go. So he went there. And while he was in Singapore, he got sick. He got very sick. And at some point, the management of the school said that they needed to bring him back, to send him back home so that he can be treated. Imagine, my mom was sick. Remember, my mom was sick, was away. My husband is sick, is away. And at that time, we didn't have many mobile phones. It was not like today that you can call anytime. He used to call me every Tuesday at my place of work. And you'll see that is the time we had landlines. So those phones, stationary ones, not the mobile ones. So if I missed to be near the phone when he was calling, then I've missed for that week. And that would really make me feel bad, because I've not talked to him. So I continued praying for him that he's not taken back home. He's not brought back home. As much as I was missing him, at the same time, I wanted him to complete his year. He completed and he came back home, and then we went on. So I decided now, the following year, I do a higher diploma. I'm doing my therapy sessions. I am continuing to heal. There was a requirement for a term paper. So during the term paper, I decided, because of where I was working, I was interacting with a lot of fathers. And those fathers were like having issues with the step-sons. So I thought, why can't I also just get to understand, interview the fathers, get to know what are the relationship types, how are they coping with, how are they relating with these step-sons. So I learned again a lot of traumatic situations, experiences, environments, home environments that were so toxic, that was so bad, that, physical, emotional. And then I continued with these parents, and I was able to, help them. I would be able to continue, supporting them, and kind of a father support group. I was doing that, not necessarily them being together, but I would just, call them, talk to them, and, invite them for a meeting, and they would really share. Some accusing the mothers, some accusing the children, because some of them had bigger children. We continued on like that. This is 2001. I finished my course, my diploma course, and then I started practicing. We went on. Now my husband is back. He started teaching in a Bible school, and life was good. We continued on. Now he has basic counseling skills, so at some point we could, share some notes. And for me, I've now gone a step higher. I am doing, I'm doing this counseling. So I did the term paper, I did well, and then I continued on. So nime complete, I have graduated, and I'm working. I'm doing part-time, training on counseling. Then in 2006, I thought I could impact more people. So I opened an organization, an organization where I could do counseling, and my focus mostly were churches. I was telling myself, if churches and parents in those churches can understand some of these things, it will be better. The children will not be traumatized, because traumatic situations are always with us. So I started teaching elders, I would teach deacons, members, and we continued on. And remember, I said I was also a Sunday school teacher. I started also training the Sunday school teachers how to handle the children and how to be better parents. Parents, not necessarily they are biological, but since they are mentoring them, they are teaching them, they are, feeding them spiritually, but at the same time. So at that time, with my team of 30 teachers, then we started also going to other churches and teaching the teachers there. We've gone to universities, we've gone to colleges, we've gone to churches, because I was feeling the drive to also help these children not to go through what I went through. And we would really talk about the home front, what they go through, the families, and they would share, and the children and the teachers would also share. And of course, there is the spiritual aspects, and there is the physical aspect, there is the mental aspect, there is the emotional aspect, all combined, and we used to deal with all that. And I tell God, and I thank God that my situation was now paying off, because I am healing quite a percentage of my healing, because I learned and I got an opportunity to share and also to be taken through therapy. Okay, so there we were happy. We are going through, we are going to churches, we are going to other places, and I'm happy that I'm impacting on people's lives. But still, I'm still having those issues. I'm not completely healed, but it's a journey. And I would say at this point, don't rush yourself, and don't bash yourself. Don't hate yourself that you're experiencing some episodes, some attacks, some bouts of emotional trauma, some panics, some fear, some crying, some irritability. All those things are symptoms and signs of trauma, and especially even like now mine, separation anxiety. So when situations happen at home, because I know you're watching at me, you're looking at me, you're listening to me, and you are saying, my home environment, my family environment, where I've come from, it's so bad, it's so toxic. And you are parent there, you're seated and you are saying, Jane, what you are saying is what I experienced when I was growing up, is what is happening in my family right now. We have had so many people being taken to prison and all that, so that they can, because they have defiled a child, they have assaulted somebody and all that. Those are traumatic situations in our homes. Our children, they go to school, they go to boarding school or even day schools, and they are bullied. Those are traumatic situations. Let us not bury them. Let's, bring them out. Where? In therapy. There is help. And that is what I would like to stress, that there is help. So in 2006, that's the time I started the organization. Then in 2008, my husband got another opportunity. Hey, there's a lot of my husband here. My husband got another opportunity to go to the United States of America, US. To do what? A doctorate. How long? 5 years. 5 years. It was intense. I remember, as much as I've done counseling, as much as I'm going for therapy, it is not instant. It's not instant tea. So be patient with yourself. I wasn't so much. So at that time, again, he was to go in 2007. Hey, I told him, no, you can't go. You can't leave us. There was no opportunity for all of us to go. So it was only him, because the scholarship was only for him. So we had to be left, and I was working, even as I'm working even now. So he left us with our two daughters. And then that again was traumatic for me. The separation anxiety heavy on my life, but I had to give it away. He had to go. So I would still cry. I would still, he was calling every Saturday, and would talk and talk and talk on phone, saying, oh, what has happened, over the week. And it was a bit of our connecting point. And then he would come once a year for 6 weeks when they were on break, and then we would reconnect. But the funniest bit was that every time he comes, it was like starting our marriage again. When he is going, it is reminding me of my separation anxiety and my abandonment and all that. So he went and he completed his course. And 2012, he came back. And from that time, we are together. Up to this day, we are together. And I continued with therapy. I continued, seeking help. And I continued growing and realizing that I had to be honest with myself. One of the things that really make trauma difficult is not seeking help. And when we seek help, and especially when we are open and we have confidence in our therapists and some people who can, even some spiritual leaders, some pastors, some priests, those that can be able to help, it is important for us to share. Because I always say that when we don't share, we are being eaten from inside. You will be seeing somebody who is looking like they are well, but inside there is a lot of pain. How will that pain be shared? How will that pain be, resolved? How will that pain go away? It just doesn't go away on itself. And there is help. There is help. Mama, there is help. Father, there is help. Sister, there is help. Young people, there is help. We can seek help. Let us not keep quiet. So my issues with children, I continued with them as much as at that time now, I am aware that I'm getting attracted to children because of what they go through and because of what I went through. But at this time it's different. I'm not barring it. I am not using it as a defense mechanism. I'm not covering it. I am saying I am going out there so that I can prevent what I went through in another person's life. And that is what really made me to focus so much on issues of children. In 2020, 2021, we all remember it was COVID season. And at that time, there was a lot of talk about teenage pregnancies. There was a lot of domestic violence. There was a lot of, because many people were at home. They were staying at home, so there was a lot of time together. As opposed to when somebody is working and some bits of time they are not in the house. So what did I do? I just decided, no, I want to really be of help to parents. And what I did, I called my friends, I texted them, I formed a WhatsApp group, and we did parenting online. Every week, we would do 2 sessions. 1 hour, 1 hour. one thing that was so interesting was that people were running home. There was a time there was curfew. So when it is curfew time, everybody is at home. So everybody is online, and we were able to do. And that was one thing that COVID was exposing us to, online work. So I did that for 7 weeks, and I was happy with the results, because the feedback that was coming from the parents was that it is good, it is good. Let me take you back a bit. When my husband was in the US, I also decided, that was from 2008, I also decided I needed to get deeper in counseling. So what did I do? I took up a master's in counseling. I did a counseling master's in the University of Nairobi, and as I was studying, you remember my issue of parents, my issues of trauma. What I did is that there was the thesis, what I needed to do. So what I did is that before I completed my studies, I had also thought about, you remember I had a group of fathers, but this time when my husband is away, I also formed another support group. I told myself I wanted also to share my experience because of the separation, and I was wanted to hear other people, how they are coping with their separations. So I got people who had spouses abroad, outside Kenya. So we formed that support group, and people would share. My wife went when my baby was, our daughter was, for example, our daughter or our son was 5 years or 6 months, and these are the struggles I have gone through, and they would share, and we would support one another. So the requirement again of my master's course was you had to do the project. And even today, I know we do a project, people do a project, a thesis. So I decided to get deeper into issues of families and how, the trauma affects them, and how the children can be helped especially, and how the families can be helped, or the spouses can be helped, the mother or the father. I did a paper that is accessible online in the University of Nairobi portal. We can be able to Google it and get it. What did I call it? Impact of long distance marriages on the family. So I did research, I did my proposal, I did the research, I wrote my thesis, and I did okay. So we can access it and we can read, and I believe there's somebody who will be helped. So I went on now with my issues of children, and I'm telling myself this time, it's again, as I said, it's no defense mechanism. Now I've learned that I can be of help to children and to families. And even today, I continue issues of children. I continue supporting them. In 2021, I started a health show on YouTube. We can also access it. It's called Health Now Show. And this channel is focused on health issues, mental health. Remember, I've done, counseling psychology and physical health. So I invite doctors, I invite mental health practitioners and providers of different, specializations, and they come and share. So the show is running even now, and you can visit it and see what we are doing. So in 2022, July, I was hosting one of the gynecologists called Dr. Mary Maina, and then she suggested that we could do a medical camp. Yeah, so I said, why not? So I mobilized the people, and we said we are going to do a medical camp on cervical cancer screening, and we did that to 200 ladies. And I was overexcited that I'm reaching out families. Why? Because I was talking about a mother who is sick, and then here we are saying we prevent sicknesses, especially to mothers. So it was really resonating with me again. I'm saying I'm touching on a mother, I'm touching on children, because when the mother is healthy, the children will be safe, and there will be no that kind of issues to do with the sickness. So we did the 200. And then as I was inviting doctors, she still connected me with a neurologist, pediatrician called Dr. Maureen Joroge, and we did a session with her on autism. And we also did another one on epilepsy. And when we did that, I requested her whether we could do a medical camp on epilepsy. And she said yes. And she supported me with other doctors, other health providers, and we did our first epilepsy medical camp for children on December 3rd, 2022 in Kiambu Town. We were able to attend to and serve 240 children. 20 of them were screened EEG for epilepsy because the parents were reporting they had conversions. And again, as we all know, epilepsy can really bring a lot of trauma and stigmatization on children, because when this child falls, they can have a fracture, they can burn themselves, they can get burnt because they have fallen into fire or something. So again, I was like, I want to prevent this stigma. I want to prevent this trauma. And again, they are, when they go to school, sometimes they don't have medication, so they are not able to study well. And I was feeling this should not be a hindrance, like the way I suffered and I got sick emotionally when I was in school. So I want to prevent, and to be, to enhance their life, to empower them to be, so that they are better. So the 20, we also got some medication for them. And because again, the screening, as some of you would know, is very expensive. But by the grace of God, I had partners who came in and supported us. I got so interested with the issue of helping children, and especially those that have epilepsy. I then remembered when I was growing up, there was this young man who used to come to our church, and every Sunday he would have conversions. He would fall. Of course, we were calling it falling. He would scream and then fall and foam, and everybody would be scared. So I would look at him, he's foaming, he's twitching the eyes, he's turning the eyes, and I would really get, so scared. So it also reminded me of those images, those pictures, the way I used to see him. So I said, with that James, not his real name, the way he was going through, I would want other children not to go through that. So there are those two things. What I saw at home, now being encouraged by the neurologists, pediatricians, even to do a medical camp, and also the experience that I would see with James, not his real name. So, December 2022, we did the camp, and it was very successful. And from that time, other children with other different conditions still would come, and they were treated that day, and they were given some medication. Those that needed to be referred to other places for further care, they were taken there. So, what am I saying to us? That my trauma and my journey has another side that is positive. But what is bringing this positivity? Awareness. One of the things that trauma brings, if you allow it, is you deal with the pain. You can deal with the pain in therapy, but it also brings a lot of awareness of yourself and others, your environment. How are the other people coping? So that humanity comes into you, and that is what came into me. I'm not perfect. It's work in progress. I am not rushing myself, but it brings a lot of awareness. The other thing that it brings to us, and it has brought to me, is being open-minded and allowing myself to be and to experience new possibilities. When I was looking at the issue of the medical camp, I was seeing it is a mountain. It's big. I don't have the finances. But imagine, I approached people. Some were giving me rice, beans, arrowroots, even to feed the people that were there on that day. And others were giving their money. Financial institutions came along and they supported us. So we were able to do that medical camp. So what I'm saying, being open to possibilities. Don't limit yourself. Don't say that, oh, I suffered this and other people probably are just looking at me and not helping me. Take a step because you have the strength. It's only that you have not, seen that, in a big picture. And by the grace of God, God helped me so that I'm able to be open into new possibilities and help other people. The other thing that is very important for us to think about is that when you get inspired, inspire other people. And that is what I am happy to do. So this year, what I've done is I have also prepared, I am organizing another medical camp for children with epilepsy. 2023, and it will be on 9th of December. It is a Saturday, 9th of December, this year in Kiambu Town. We are looking forward to screening 100 children. And these children, when we screen them, we also want to put them on NHIF so that they can access medication for the year. After screening them, then we are able to give them, a way of accessing the medication. Because some of those children are coming from very humble beginnings. Homes. Some of them are quite low-income homes, and they would need support. So, and we are looking forward that in future, we'll be able to empower these families, probably with an income generating activity so that they can, be able to support their families better. But at this moment, my focus is on that medical camp. And that is why I am appealing to you at this point that if you are able to do that, if you are able to support financially so that we can be able to support these children, to do the screening of the hardy children that we want to, you can be able to reach us on 0114-404-200, and we'll be able to respond back, and we'll be glad for you to support us. So what am I saying at the end of it? I'm saying there is another side of trauma. Let's be open-minded. Let us be open to supporting other people. Let us be open. There's no, like it is a business coming in. No, it's not something that is bringing money. It is something that you are saying, let me be a channel of blessing other people. Let me be a channel of empowering somebody else. Let me come out open and say, I have suffered this, but I'm not where I started. I am in a different place. So sometimes we just look at trauma and just say, mine is too much, I cannot be helped. There is nothing like that it is too much. There is somebody who is waiting to help you. Are you seated there as I come to close? Are you seated there? Are you watching me? Are you watching this video? And I request that you share it, and subscribe to our channel. Are you there? You have a traumatic experience that you'd like to share. You may not have been able to really get through with it the way I've worked on mine. You may not have moved to the next stage of now helping other people come out of the situation, but you'd like to have an opportunity to come and also touch somebody's life. One thing that I always say is that when I sit here, when you sit here, you are a voice to somebody else. You are a voice, and let that voice be heard. And I'm inviting you, if you are seated there, if you are there, if you are listening to me, you are watching me, give you an opportunity to come here on set and be able to share with us. I know there are many questions that you may be asking. You can still do that. You can still share with us. You can still reach out to us and we'll be able to get back to you. You can help somebody. Trauma is not a death sentence. Trauma can be a way of helping others, can be a way of empowering others, can be a way of reaching out to other people. And I believe it will be something that we can all think about. Before I come to the close of this episode that I'm sharing about trauma, one other thing that my journey has helped me to think about is to think about the general community. And I thought, how do I get to reach out to more people, not necessarily children alone, but even the whole community? How can I be of help to them? I may be just alone, that is a drop in the ocean, but I felt that there's something I can do. So in 2022, September, that is last year, I registered a community-based organization called Bansol Community Health Services. Then, as the name denotes, it talks about, it is focused on health of the community, different health conditions, mental, because I'm saying I want to reach out to so many people. And that is why that Bansol Community Health Services is a county registered organization. And what I have planned to do is that I organize medical camps in every sub-county. In Kiambu, we have 15 sub-counties. I did one last year. I'm doing one again in Kiambu town, Kiambu sub-county. And I'm looking forward to having partners, to having support so that I can be able to do. Because what I did with last year, when we did the one we did, people came from different parts of the county and some even outside the county. So I realized that some were traveling from very far. And I thought, why can't I do it nearer to them? So what I've planned this year is that when we get enough finances, or resources that can enable us to do to every sub-county, I would like to do in the 15 sub-counties medical camps for children with epilepsy and other conditions. Because like for this year, we have planned, we have talked with a dentist who will come with other dentists and will be able to see children's teeth, and they will be treated, they will be consulted. And during our medical camps, those children that need referrals, as I said earlier, they are always referred to the appropriate health facilities that they can get the next level of care. So, as again, I appeal to you that walk with me this journey where we can be able to touch these children's lives, and especially children with epilepsy, so that they can live healthier lives. Because what I've learned about epilepsy is that these children can live healthy lives. Epilepsy can be managed and they can live, they can play, they can achieve their life goals, they can go to school, and we have many people in the country who are they're epileptic, but they are doing very well. You would not even know. Why? Because they have medication, they have care, they know how to, it's how it is managed, and they are able to move on with life. So join me and we get to work together. One thing that I would like to close with is that when we have gotten the awareness, when we are inspiring other people, when we are open to possibilities, we are also improving on our relationship with other people. Our interpersonal relationships are improved, and that is how we continue as human beings improving our relationships. And I would like you to walk with me this journey. So as I close, finally, I want to say this. Trauma can be used positively if we are open, if we are willing to first heal and then help other people heal. I would like to just illustrate by saying, it is somebody who is down there. Pull them up to where you are and even higher. Because we will always say, when you have gone through a journey, you can be able to pick others. You cannot you cannot pour out of an empty cup. You have gone through somewhere. So I am appealing to you. You are seated there. You are saying, you are wallowing in pity. You are just swimming in that trauma, in that anxiety, in that pain, in that panic attack, in that fear. Come out, there is help. And let us help other people. The other side of trauma. This is Health Now Show, your health friend. Until next time, God bless you. Thank you very much.